let's get right into it. Should we start the episode? Tasha, you ready to go? Hey, everybody. Welcome to the SAP. It's your boy, Dave Neal with Tasha Courtney and Jacquie Brown.
Oh, welcome.
Thanks for being a part of the show today. I need to turn you up even more. Talk to me a little bit.
Hey, what's up?
I think you sound good, right? Why does it sound? It does sound kind of echoey. Oh, I was turning myself up. Sorry.
Yeah, you sound louder.
Oh, you should be better now.
Everybody.
You sound better.
He's like, what? I can't hear you.
I like to raise my volume a little bit just so people know who's in charge. That's why I got this.
You got an issue, babe.
I like this new microphone I've been using. It goes because it can sit like under my chin a little bit, you know?
You're like resting it on it a little bit. Yeah,
I'm just like hanging out there. Like people can hear my beard. They need it. That's good for the.
ASMR.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we got a Dyson vacuum. That's 5 years of dating. I don't know if 5 years in a relationship you get a Dyson vacuum. It's part of the deal.
I sort of felt like, you know how there's always like that old stereotype, like, you know, to never get your wife a vacuum cleaner. And I was like, I'm getting my boyfriend a vacuum cleaner.
Like, that is.
Well, it's like I feel like it's like Ghostbusters, but it's dust busting. And there's different.
He told me today he wants some Carhartt pants with like, you know how cargo pants have like the strap where you like put your hammer?
Fuck yeah.
Like, I need a holster for my vacuum.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
Whatever makes you happy, babe.
Does it have like an attachment? That's what you mean?
I'll show it to you after. It's got the whole thing, and then the whole vacuum's in its trigger. This is like it's like school shooter fucking mode, and you just but instead of shooting, you're sucking.
Because you're gonna get.
The dog goes nuts for it. Nuts, not in a good way. He's fucking obsessed. This one's way quieter than the other one, but he's equally traumatized.
He's well, I wonder why he's traumatized, Dave. Have you chased him around with a vacuum?
You can't not chase a dog around with a vacuum. Is your dog scared of any vacuums or anything?
Because when I first got him, I set it down on the floor and I was like, look, this makes a noise and it's okay. And then I never chased him with it.
Oh, look, what a difference it makes.
That's what guys should do with their new girlfriends. Just set her down and be like, look, this is this is a vacuum. This is okay. You can use it once in a while. Tasha doesn't. You haven't used a vacuum once.
Yes, I have. You weren't here.
Yeah, okay. There's no alibi. I wasn't here. So do you live around here? Where are you at?
I'm in Hollywood.
You're in Hollywood?
So yeah, not too far.
So you dealing with the bums and the homeless?
Yeah. If we leave our gate open, people will come sleep in our backyard. That's for sure.
We had a homeless guy walk into the stand-up show yesterday.
It was a scary moment. I was a little bit afraid there for a moment. I was like, oh my God, we're all going to be trapped in this small room. I didn't know if there was a back door to this building. I was like,
a back door?
I don't know. There's no back door.
It's like an old, for the listeners, it's like an old cell phone store. So it's long and skinny. It is. It was.
That makes so much sense.
I know. We call it the Nokia Theater now because it seats 25. We put maybe almost 30 people in this room, which is, so the brunch show was a smashing success, I would say, right? It was
huge success.
Thank you
guys
7.5
for your support. Thank you. Special shout out to Vic because she's one of our most loyal listeners.
Victoria's amazing. She
shows up to everything that we put on. She's just like so awesome.
She was gonna go to Big Bear with the dude, and she canceled her plans to come to this show.
She said the dude was kind of a dick, and she wasn't really.
She's like, I just need one good reason to not go.
We've also been given boxes of sex toys from Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve is the only company that's good.
Yeah.
So not random people.
I didn't know you were like talking about a homeless guy coming in the room, and then you're talking about naked.
That's what I had to do to get him out. I had to stick a butt plug up his ass and tickle his taint. We gave her the nicest sex toy gift that we were gonna give. You know, like it was like the top tier dildo or this vibrator.
Is
or
it the bunny one or whatever?
I don't know if we get. Well, I don't know. Was it? It was. Maybe it was.
No, it was not. It was the G-spot massager.
Yeah.
So it does have vibration.
But then we also gave away a Kegel ball. But was it Kegel ball? I guess it was for the vagina. The Kegel balls. Mm-hmm. Which was kind of fun because I gave them away to Tasha's friend Sammy, and I took a lot of joy in giving it to one of Tasha's friends. Not that anyone's gonna use it. They were they weren't. They were 3 balls like peas in a pod, but they were like not racquetball size, but bigger than a golf ball. And I was like, I think this is a little large for like a Kegel ball.
Yeah. Honestly, it looks like too big.
Because
I'm very open to all that stuff, but some of it I'm like, that looks excessive.
Yeah.
Like that looks.
Well, all the dildos are excessive.
Yeah.
Like I don't think women actually want. I've never I don't think women. I mean, what do I know? Want the dildos? They want the little because like you see, and then they'll have this little like thing that looks like it goes on a keychain. Yeah, that's what
she's talking about. The butterfly, like the what do you call it? The rabbit ears.
Yeah.
But Tasha, I mean, I don't know. You've probably had toys in your past, but when we got this shipment from Adam and Eve, it was like next level. there was some $180.
I kind of went through and picked out my favorites before I decided what we were gonna give away.
Yeah, right.
Because they gave us tiers of things. They gave us like everything from like the buy your own double D batteries to put in the vibrator, like shit vibrators, all the way up to like the $150, and then like a vegan flogging kit or something. Like
wait, it's vegan? Because leather.
Yeah, so it's pleather.
Yeah.
They gave us like pleather straps and shit. I didn't give those away. We got that too. I wanted to save some for next brunch show. So if anyone's listening in LA and wants some, look, if you're a listener of the podcast, you will get a sex toy. So just come on out. But the homeless guy didn't get one. He didn't get one. But we went through almost 8 liters of champagne. And that made about, I want to say about 90 mimosas. I feel like everyone had 2 to 3 mimosas.
Yeah, that makes about sense.
It was a good crowd. All the comics smashed. Yeah, you got to come on next time we do it. Hopefully they let us do another one.
It sounds like they will.
We did.
I think so.
I mean, I've never seen this in LA because people aren't really grateful for art in LA because we're all kind of doing it.
Like inundated in it.
But like there was one girl afterward that was like, "This was fucking amazing." And I was like, "All right, calm down. It wasn't great, but it was like, it was like good comics."
No,
like,
it's a fun thing. It's a free show. Donation if you want to help pay the comics.
So we were able to pay all the comics through donations.
No, it was a fun little free Sunday
That's so
afternoon.
cool.
Drink some mimosas and listen to some stand-up.
But I'm teasing it because I am going to release the audio of the show on our Patreon. So that's why I'm teasing it, because if you want to hear the audio of me kicking out a fucking homeless guy with his suitcase, I had to give him some bubble gum. The poor guy. And people thought he was part of the show because it was like, he looked like a magician walked in.
I was behind a pole, so I never got a glimpse of him. I just heard... And then, like, you see, like, the ripple of everybody's heads turn across, and then you see everyone's face, like, oh, and what's going on?
I was in the green room. I like, for, like, 2 minutes, I left the showroom to go into the back room and sort of, like, relax. And then as soon as I open the door to the showroom, I see someone's fucking with my show. And I treated that show as, like, my baby. You don't want...
fucking with my show.
Well, I was like, look, we're going to have... If you got to fight a guy to get him out, you got to fight a guy to get him out. But, like, most of these people are very docile creatures, but they also could have mental health issues. So who knows? But anyway, I'm gonna release.
Papa Bear Dave.
I was grateful that you had a few other comics come over for backup.
Eric, but gay Eric, what's he gonna do?
Eric. I think
Eric's a big guy.
No, Eric definitely. I think he used to be a bouncer.
And I shouldn't have called him gay Eric. He's way bigger and stronger than me.
He's way bigger and stronger than you, babe.
He played football. I love Eric.
Yeah, he was like a football star.
The more you talk about it, you're like, yeah, he played football.
Dude,
he was a bouncer. Actually, yeah, he was the person to do that.
He was on the episode.
The guy.
He was on the episode a few weeks ago, so people know who I'm talking about, Eric. And Eric, one night after we were doing a mic, we I don't know if we had a beer or what, but we were just hanging out. Tasha, you were out of town, so I had nowhere to be. That's when comedy's fun, when I have nowhere to be, because like next thing you know, we're like an hour into talking about musical theater, and he's showing me like clips of something, and I'm like, this is the gayest conversation I've ever had. But I held my own. I was like, I'll go gay with you, Eric. It's fine. Yeah, it's a cool community out there,
Yeah.
Have you like taken to like certain, because you're sort of new to stand up, right? But you've been in a performer. Like now trace me back. Were you in the Miss America pageant or something? Let's rewind and get back. Yeah, take us all the way back to like.
beginning.
And I'm only saying that I would never call you out. I'm only saying this because I've heard your act. But you say you come from like a trashy sort of upbringing. Like start
How dare you?
because you said you came.
I mean, you're trash, right?
You came from the same town as who was it? Because I don't.
Tanya Harding and Courtney Love.
So that's fucking.
Oh yeah.
I'm from Portland, Oregon, the area, and people don't really associate that with white trash. So I do a bit about that people don't understand. But Tanya Harding and Courtney Love are from my hometown, so.
And how big of it is it? A small town where like people like is it like a? I mean, like what? Like how do you define it as a trashy town?
So technically, like the Portland metropolitan area includes Vancouver, Washington, which is just across the river. So while I only lived like, I would say 3 minutes across the border, and it's a totally different state, but it's a lot of people live there and then commute into the city to work. So I basically lived in like the trashy suburb of Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
But even like Tanya Harding and Courtney Love, like they actually lived in Portland. So it's like, it's a city, it's a small city, but it definitely has like, I mean, we're from a bunch of loggers and fishermen, so that's bound to happen. I feel like if it's just
that sounds like a dream place to live.
Loggers
for me,
and fishermen
actually.
are not highbrow Wall Street bros. There's something we call it trashy, but like we all came, like I came from a pretty redneck town myself, just like not loggers and fishermen, but dairy farmers and just weird, you just have different parts of the town that are like, the nice people, there's certain people of certain wealth live in one area and then your friends live in the other. And it's like, there's always seems to be a better community amongst like we had the trailer park that they had like their own community. They had like a name for their type of people that lived there. And like, they all knew each other. They all knew their codes, they all had keys to each other's trailers or whatever you know what I mean? And it's, did you have you were super suburban growing up? You didn't have that, did you?
Well, it's sort of yes and no. When we first moved there, it was brand new development, and we were like the first people there. So there was nobody else around except for like the McCulloughs next to us, and then like down the street down there was just the back of other people's farms before they had been sold.
Because you're Kentucky, and you want like Appalachian Kentucky, like stupid accent Kentucky. You've got like a little Midwestern twang, but not the.
Yeah, you want that stereotypical.
Oh, you want
like
the fucking
sugar sweet syrup accent. It's a little different accent. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
When you say oil, you say ol.
Yeah. It's just like lazy, pretty much.
Yeah, it's really, the Midwest is different than, if you can go from northern Kentucky, where you're from near Cincinnati, to wherever the Appalachia area is, that southwest, whichever that is, that's like, it's just like a different, that's where like the blue people live.
Pockets.
Right? Isn't that what the blue people are from?
Sure.
Do you ever heard of these blue people?
It's
blue skin people? I don't know.
They say it's from like inbreeding, but actually you can turn blue from ingesting silver, I believe.
Or
like
fucking your cousin.
Silver.
So anyway, back to you. So,
and I think that the water source in that particular town was contaminated, and that's why all those
America, USA, best country in the world, can't fix Michigan. We're not here to be political, but USA. So Northwest. So you're growing up in a trashy town. It was just like, was there crime? Was there like what was just a socioeconomic? It was just a blue collar.
Yeah, there was just a lot of crime and just a lot of like drug abuse in my neighborhood and just like unsavory characters.
Did you dabble in any of that, or were you?
No, I saw it and I was like, oh
yeah, like, you don't want to be anywhere near that.
But I think growing up like that, I don't want to say it's black and white, like you're either bitter and end up doing it yourself, or you say like, I don't want to do that and don't do it. I don't think it's as black and white as that, but I do feel like you kind of go one way or the other.
I think people that grow up, well, I don't know. For me, my sexual beginnings were kind of stunted, but everyone who came from the trailer park was fucking. They were that part of town. My first girlfriend was like, I'm talking like real girlfriend, but like my first girlfriend, like pass a note around, was from that side of town, and she was trying to get me to like touch her boobs, and I was like, she literally took my hands and put them above her like baggy sweatshirt, and I was like, I didn't feel fucking shit. It was like 7 layers deep in the winter.
And she's probably also 13.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was 29. This is a few years ago. It was weird. I probably shouldn't say that. But yeah, it was fucking, and then like, it wasn't until years later that I realized how much farther ahead she was, like maybe on a maturity level, but I just couldn't fathom. Plus, Catholic guilt. I never wanted to be a virgin for like till marriage, but I still didn't see a route for that to be a possibility anytime soon. And then you hear about people losing their virginity young, and I go, what the fuck? You don't even have dudes don't have like a hard on at that. I mean, you got a boner, but
you don't
like,
even know what that is.
Yeah, really, you're just like, are you kidding me? I mean, now I feel like nowadays with the internet, people can see that being more of a thing. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it is interesting. Somebody on the show they had a bit about that yesterday, about how like they came of age like with the invention of internet porn and how much that scarred them. I didn't watch internet porn when I was a kid.
It scarred them?
Yeah, like
Was it a guy or girl?
It was a guy on the show yesterday.
Well,
and
sign up on the Patreon and you can listen to this.
He said, like, instead of learning about sex, like, oh, when a man loves a woman and blah, 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 that his buddy at school was like, hey, do you want to watch a dude fuck a horse? Like,
oh, yeah, that's a little, I was like, porn or that's...
Yeah, very extreme. Yeah. Obviously, there are, there's all kinds of porn. But
see, we had like porn photos. That was the first porn
like
photos.
Magazines?
Yeah, you didn't stream videos. This is the 90s. You had a buffer of photos.
Wait, how old are you? You're like, I'm 76.
I'm 56.
Yeah.
It took 20 minutes to download this photo.
I mean, look,
and it's like one line at a time.
Ding, ding, ding.
You just Trying to hold on till the tit shows.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, and that's why I'm so turned on.
I think it's nipple. I think it's the top of the nipple.
That's why I'm so turned on by foreheads. We had to slow buffering. I could never get past them. Like, that's a good forehead. And then it turns out to be some dude.
The tits were going to be good if the forehead was good.
And then you had to wait. And then if your mom would come home, you'd have to throw the monitor out the window because, you're pressing buttons.
Dave, we're going through so many monitors. What's going on? Dave, we just got to keep through.
Well, here's what happens. So you could change. You're basically dial-up internet. And honestly, there's probably half our audience doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Dial-up internet would be. Did you have dial-up internet? You're in your 20s, right?
Yeah, I didn't have it. But my grandma had it.
Jeez.
And I remember barely vaguely remember trying to do something and giving up because I was like, what is it?
Yeah, so you got to dial a number and it goes through the phone and and if the number's
you can't make a phone call while you're on the internet. And no one can call you while you're on the internet or else it'll boot you off.
What if a tsunami's coming?
Right?
Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have that in Kentucky.
Yeah, we didn't have to worry about that.
I can understand why you were worried about a tsunami.
Yeah.
But, like, my dad, you would get these, they would come, like, with the paper, these, like, discs of AOL, and they were, like, free disc, and they would be, like, free 60 hours of AOL. And it would come in the paper, like, at least once a month. And so you would just, like, when you were up on your minutes of AOL, you would just pop in a new AOL disc and you could get 60 free minutes again or whatever.
Tasha,
Technology.
we are ancient. But so you dial the number 401 blah blah blah, and if the number sucks, there's other numbers you can dial. You can change the setting. I'm 12. I figured this out, and so I changed the setting. I'm 13. I'm trying to do the math. This is like 97, 98. I graduated in 2003. Let's call it 99. This is 1999. A good year, 99. And I'm dying. So I found out another number I can type in that it's faster. It's Providence, Rhode Island, not Portsmouth, Rhode Island. Well, that's a long distance phone call, my friends.
Oh no.
So a month later, I'm actually, I know where I am. I remember this. I'm next to the Coca-Cola machine outside the gym at my high school. There's a payphone there. You got to put in 25 cents. You make a phone call. And then my mom answers, David Coleman Neal. What? She was like, I've got a bill for $1,400. And I think she ended up getting her lawyer involved to get rid of the bill. But like, yeah, I was like,
$1,400.
They were like,
because you were using internet.
Yeah, I was calling Providence for like 9 hours a day. And I was like, whoops. And there used to be all these things where like you'd sign into AOL and it would be like free TV or whatever, and there would be different advertisements. This is super illegal now, but this is the Wild West of the web, right? So you would literally just hit a button and your credit card was already synced in, so you didn't have to confirm anything. We started having TVs showing up, and like my mom, and it was my fault. It was my fault. I was buying shit.
David Coleman Neal.
Is
that your middle name?
Yeah. Just for the podcast, it's my middle name. It's not my real middle name. If you want my social, it's it's my name. Yeah. So it's just like TVs and like aquarium. No, I don't like random shit would show up, and I guess I was like, well, it said it was free, but you didn't ever read they didn't have like you can't do that shit now. Now you need like every time you order something, you have to have like a fingerprint scan or whatever.
Yeah, and they have like parental settings to make sure that kids can't even buy like games.
But my mom's so not tech savvy that she didn't know how to return the things, so she just would give them away to Christmas presents to people, like things that I got from the AOL. I don't know. There's a new story for you, Tasha. Once a year, you get a story.
Speaking of Tanya Harding, one of our viewers, Live Fast Die Old, said one of the first porn pics he ever saw was a fake picture of Tanya Harding.
Yeah.
Like
Bro, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Did you see that too?
Yeah, she was one of the main fakes. Because you'd get like Britney Spears and you'd get like this clear blend of skin tones between the fake and this is like pre-Photoshop years.
Yeah. But
yeah.
you're like, okay.
I
can imagine that.
I had a thing for Tanya Harding for sure. She had the bangs, even almost more so than Margot Robbie playing Tanya Harding.
Because she was like an icon.
She was an icon. Right? She was like a rebel. She was like athletic. Yeah, she had a thing going on. And she was really talented. But when you watch the movie, you go, shit, she had a raw deal. Like, shoot, when you're raised that fucked up, you can have empathy for someone.
Like most Olympians in general have a raw deal. I mean, I know we were going to talk about like pageant stuff, but in general, I feel like kids forced into a sport where you have to perform at a high level and like you get all this pressure sort of put on you, like not healthy.
Yeah.
But your sister was a high level gymnast. Did she feel that? She doesn't look fucked up from it.
No, she's not fucked up from it, but she also like didn't go to the Olympics.
Well, I would be a disappointed parent then. You didn't make it to the Olympics.
No, She competed at a very high level world games, but her sport was not an Olympic. It is an Olympic sport now, but it was not an Olympic sport then.
What is it?
Trampoline. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she was a really super high level gymnast. But she was also like in a supportive environment, and she had a close group of friends. I don't know.
She just happened to actually really enjoy it.
Yeah, I just think like once you there's a difference between doing it sort of recreationally and being good enough that you are competing at the highest levels and you're traveling the world and it's like a fun extra thing you get to do versus trying to turn it into a career and living off of sponsorships that happen once every 4 years.
If you're doing trampoline in Russia, there's got to be some pressure to that.
Yeah, you're gonna die if you fail the country. Yeah. you don't want to.
They had somebody die.
Yeah, it was.
You're hitting
a horrible tragic accident.
You're hitting this trampoline, and if you don't hit it in the right area, it's fucking off. You're going off. I mean, that's probably why they don't do it in the Olympics. It's probably very dangerous.
Well, they do it now, but after
trampolines in the Olympics,
my sister's teammate was killed. It was horrible. It's in the Olympics. We watched it at the Grove. You don't remember?
No, not at all.
Now they have regulations about like how deep the mats need to be out away from the trampoline because these high level gymnasts are flying 40 feet in the air. And so like 2 feet of mats as a crash landing is not sufficient.
But you guys are talking about dying from an accident like that.
Is the pageant world that dangerous?
Like if you're Russian and you're gonna get
your
killed.
Coach is like,
die.
You let down our country.
Yes.
That's what the Chinese do, right? Don't they? You basically like leave your home to
We're
go
all
train.
gonna get murdered after talking about this.
Subscribe to us if you're gonna murder us.
In general, like all across the world, there's no like the U.S. probably the gymnasts and the swimmers and the high level athletes are probably the child athletes are probably treated the best, but it still doesn't seem like I don't know
anything that dedicated, like a child actor, child athlete. You're living like your parents' dreams, and if you feel like you disappoint them, then you're letting them down. Did you have any of that? Like, so when did you get into pageantry? When did this start?
So it was entirely my choice, and it wasn't until I was like 17 or 18. So it wasn't like child pageants or anything like that.
How was it your choice? How did you stumble upon it? Did some chick in a mall see you?
No.
I feel like that's how it always happens,
right?
Yeah.
Hey, you could be a model. I'm like, I'm
pay us $400.
Pay us if you only 3 low payments of $499.
That's a deal to me. Comes with a free TV.
Right. Yeah.
So you just what sparked your eye with it?
I started doing like community theater and musical theater when I was like 14, and then high school musicals and theater. And knew from an early age that's what I wanted to do. And so our high school photography teacher did the photography for the local Miss America pageant, and he also did the photography for the musicals and stuff like that. And he, over the years, got to know the Miss America pageant, and then it wasn't just a beauty pageant, and you actually get scholarship dollars, and you have to have a talent, and I mean, it still is a beauty pageant, but it was like not as shitty as one would think. It actually was like a pretty cool
thing. It's a small community. The people who are in it, they do it forever, and like, it's a cool thing.
So I heard about it, and he was like, hey, I think this would be a really good fit for you, because he'd seen me perform, and he was like, I think this would be a really good fit. And I grew up a tomboy. I grew up with a brother and a bunch of cousins, and so I was like, I don't think so. I don't think this is a fit for me, because I didn't think I was like a beauty pageant girl. And he's like, just come, we're having like an informational meeting. The current Miss Clark County, that's the county I'm from, is gonna be there, and she's gonna
Miss Clark County was gonna be there?
I know.
Fuck. Shit, they got her?
Dude, let me see that forehead.
She wasn't busy. Yeah, scan me that photo. Throw that face on Tanya Harding.
I'll tell you. Yeah. So it was actually Tanya Harding walked in the room. No, I was kidding. But and I went. I was like, all right, because he was cool. He was like everyone's favorite teacher. And I went, and I was like, oh, this is actually really cool. And I had moved out when I was 16, and so I needed a way to pay for college too. And it seemed like a really good, like, you learned a lot. Like, you got a lot of public speaking experience, and I feel like everything I do now has kind of started with that. Like, I probably would have figured it out otherwise, but I think it really helped me. And so then I started, and then you compete at a local level. You have to win like your local Miss Clark County or whatever.
So you go Miss Clark County to Miss Portland. State? What's the next one after that?
It's so confusing. That year we had 2 titles, so there was Miss Clark County and Miss Greater Vancouver, because there were so many.
Greater Vancouver.
I was Miss Greater Vancouver.
Wow. Didn't know we were blessed with Miss Greater Vancouver.
Yeah, in the flesh.
So you were an international Vancouver. I mean, you're Miss Greater Vancouver. That's right. Canada. This is you're now an international pageant contestant.
Side note, when they had the Vancouver Olympics in like 2010 or whatever, straight up people showed up for the Olympics in Vancouver, Washington, America. Like families getting off trains and planes.
Oh, wait. So you really were Greater Vancouver, Washington. Yes. I didn't know there was a Vancouver, Washington.
She literally said that like 5 minutes ago.
Jesus Christ. Was that when I was checking the levels? I'm sorry.
He was looking at forehead pictures.
I got a lot going. I'm running the show here. I'm Wizard of Ozing it behind the curtain.
You're like on kayak.com booking your ticket and you type in Vancouver. And
look, if you
think about it, you're like, okay.
They're like, wow, babe, it's so much cheaper from this area. No, it's because it's
Paris, Texas. What the fuck? Yeah. Well, okay. So we're blessed with Miss Greater Vancouver, Washington. There we go. I clarified. You're not British Columbia. You're Vancouver, Washington. But it's all literally. You can see. It's like right. You can. I mean, can't you see like Victoria Island from across the way? Because we went to Victoria. Is that what Victoria Island? Is that what it's called?
It's
Vancouver Island. Jesus Christ! I'm losing.
Victoria is the city.
Losing my cred. But you can like see it. I mean, it's like across the.
Yeah. So if you're, this sounds like. So like hillbilly, but if you're in Squim, it's on the peninsula, the Olympic Peninsula, but that's like, I mean, for me, that'd probably be like, from where I grew up, I don't know, like a 4-hour drive.
But can you go there if you want to get a drink when you're 18? Can you cross over to Canada?
Sure. Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah.
I actually tried when we were 19, my girlfriend and we tried to drive up there and got stuck in a snowstorm in Bellingham and ended up staying the night. We're like, we're going to go. And then
do you go for the Canadian guys? Like, are they like, would you ever think like, oh, the Canadian guys are cooler? Because, it's always like the other town's the cooler town. But like, I don't know. I would think like, because like I'm from Rhode Island, we'd go up to Montreal to see strippers because it was like Montreal strippers. I mean, and now in hindsight, I found out that they were actually like the best strip clubs in the world. But like, we didn't know that.
What's crazy? So Portland has like per capita, I think it's like more strip clubs than people or something like that.
Really?
Or not strip clubs and people. I'm sorry. I don't know the quote, but there's like, we're known for our strip clubs and like we show everything and you can drink there.
Wow.
So like why would I leave?
They get Miss Clark County there. She's a big strip club draw.
You don't make it to Miss Washington. You've
always got the pull. I don't know.
What's your talent?
Yeah. Do you
ironically stripping? I'm
gonna need a pole and a hula hoop for this next act.
I'm not gonna do this podcast unless you got a pole through the middle of the table.
We had a stripper pole in college at our fraternity house installed. I'm talking bolts into the ceiling, bolts into the floor. But the guy, and it was room, I think it was room 10 was the name of the room 10 or 4. Either way, any fraternity brothers out there listening, let me know. And they built a little box so that way, because it's like you don't want a stripper to be stripping on the floor with a pole. You want a box, so you need a stage presence for the stripper. And it turned out
how considerate of you.
Yeah, I mean, and well, the guy, I didn't build it, but the guys probably built a stripper pole, then realized there was no allure to it because there was no sort of like looking, because in most strip clubs or even go-go dancers, they're always up in some bird cage or something. There's this
it's one thing to be like watching a stripper, but if you have like guys going like this, like to look, I mean, it takes away from like just like
some fucking fat guys in the front row. You can't see anything.
She's shorter than you. You're like looking down on the stripper.
Yeah, no, but if everyone's looking up, it's a Mystique. That's also the stripper's name is Mystique. But it turns out it was just mostly dudes would use it. Like, to be honest, it would just mostly.
Did you ever get up on that pole?
I'm sure I did. Yeah, and I'm sure I didn't use any wet wipes to clean it off first. But it wasn't like there was no strippers. Not one stripper ever used a pole. It would just be drunk people that wanted to play. It was the fun room. It was the room everyone would go into that had like the tiki bar. And
it's
like
a novelty that you have it, like, and here's our strip pole.
Yeah. But
if any of Dave's fraternity brothers can get me a photo of Dave on the pole, I'd love to see that.
There's got to be, we're talking, they got to scan it. We're talking like Polaroids we're taking.
From your Insta develop.
Yeah. So, but, then the school president saw a photo, because this was like, Facebook didn't have photos yet. I really do sound old, but Facebook didn't have photos. No, when Facebook started, you had profile photos. That was it.
Yeah, and you couldn't upload albums.
You had to pre-crop the photo. You had to have it cropped beforehand, or it was whatever you posted. It wasn't like now where you just choose the face for the photo. That was your photo. And then you had away messages weren't a thing. Not unfair, whatever it was. So you had to go to what's the fucking Shutterfly or something? You'd have to like post an album. you have to post your photo albums to Shutterfly, and then people would literally have to like pass the link around if you wanted to see someone's photos. There wasn't social sharing yet. It was just like you had your home, that was it. Anyway, so the president saw it and made him tear it down, which was really sad. So there's a pole in some sort of landfill somewhere.
Darn.
Yeah, darn. Missed those. Have you ever been on a stripper pole, Tasha? You've been on a stripper pole before.
I don't know.
You've never been on a stripper pole?
Oh.
Is that you don't want to talk about it?
I don't know.
Have you been on a stripper pole?
I don't know.
Listen, I'm sure have you?
No, I can't say I have.
Oh, well, then clearly your pageantry career took off.
Well, I think they have those classes now where you can like, it's
Absolutely.
a workout, right?
Yeah. It's even like, I think they're going to make it an Olympic sport on the topic of the Olympics. Yeah, I've heard that. First cheerleading and I think pole dancing is.
There's no ball. There's no.
It's just constantly judges excusing themselves to the restroom. Like, I'll be right back.
Judges, like, they can't stand up. They got a boner.
I did a show with this girl in New York, and she is like probably the best pole dancer in the world. She's like amazing. She's also 6 feet tall. She's just like a beautiful giant monster. Like, she's just beautiful and so flexible, and she posts all this. She travels all over the world teaching pole dancing, and she's jacked, and I'm a little jealous.
You have to be strong to do that.
You have to be so strong.
The stripper dances they did at Crunch Gym in Union Square in New York, they were in the room had glass. It was like a fishbowl room, so there was glass walls, and like whenever strip dance class was happening, there would just be dudes using the pulley machine just like right out front, just like working on something, but like, and none of the guys, like, none of us are like, we're doing any weights, and we're just kind of all moving around. And we're creepy.
I've taken a Zumba class before, and I only took one because that's definitely what happened. It was just a lot of like no weight leg extensions, like.
Yeah, isn't it bizarre?
Yeah.
Even at like the Crunch in West Hollywood, which is probably 70% gay men, there's still the 30% creeps that are outside because it's a glass walled room.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's not like a private room; it's a glass walled room, and there's people just like hanging out the whole hour.
Well, the evolution of of humanity is to check out things you want to procreate with. So you can't apologize for that. You just got to like pick your chin up.
Can't you?
No,
can't you?
I'm talking like
control yourself.
Well, you don't want to like.
You
don't want to like.
want to be creeped out when I'm just trying to like break a sweat.
Yeah, you don't want to steam up the glass wall.
The
like
thing is, I think it's natural to like look and appreciate, but the guys who are just like in the window still, like,
like get a grip on yourself.
But the truth is,
excessive.
Creepy and charming. The only difference is whether or not she fucks you. That's it. So like you can, if you got a guy checking you out, but you're into him, game on. You know what I mean?
But if a guy was like, I mean, checking me out, sure. But if a guy was standing outside Crunch watching me for 20 minutes or anything longer than like, oh, okay, what's up? We'll make eye contact.
Second. Yeah.
That's the biggest misconception that men have, is that women want to be hit on at the gym, because like we see a sweaty woman, we know that she can like work out, it's athletic, it's sexy. But I've never met a woman who really. I mean, have you ever had a guy pick you up at a gym before? So it's possible. So what's the strategy a guy needs? Guys are listening with pen and paper.
I think.
How does a guy get Miss Clark County or whatever? Clark Kent County? What is it?
I think like Clark Kent County.
Is it Clark County?
Yeah, Clark County.
Clark County. How does a guy pick up Miss Clark County at the gym?
I think a lot of guys just need to ask more. I think I've heard from a lot of guys, they're like, well, I just like to see a girl, and I'm like, oh, she must have a boyfriend. Or I've heard even like when I've ended up going out with someone, like, oh, I just assumed you had a boyfriend. And then it's like the only people who end up asking out are like weirdos. And like,
so you're okay with a guy asking you, because I feel like in today's world you need to ask permission to ask permission.
That's so annoying that you say that, because it's just not true.
No,
it's just not true. I've said a million times on this podcast, just be direct.
Yeah,
just be direct.
Seriously, yeah.
Don't ask me out to lunch. Don't ask me out. Do you like want to get a drink sometime, or you want to grab coffee? Don't leave me wondering like what it's about. Say, hey, I'd love to take you on a date sometime if you're into.
I'm not one of those people that's like, I don't even know how to talk to women anymore. They're all gonna me to me. I'm not one of those. Like I never had a problem.
Just said you have to ask permission.
Well, what I'm saying is that like there's so much shaming going on that it's taking away. A lot of guys are wondering, like, look, if you're at a bar, that's open invite to go talk to someone. I don't care what their body language is, unless they're sitting at a booth.
I will say that like I've been out before, because I think that as long as it's like considerate, ask a girl out. As long as you're not being like weird or anything, ask her out. It's up to her to say yes or no.
And then like respect what she says.
Exactly.
Like if she says no, then she doesn't
If I
owe you
respected what
anything
Tasha
else.
said, we would have never dated. I had to go for those 7 no's before I got that yes.
Well, but you were politely persistent.
Okay, yeah.
I was polite.
That's
I did understand I was being rejected, but I also understood after rejecting she still wanted to hang out, and I was like, oh,
There's
okay.
an open, yeah.
Yeah, there was like a.
But I will say, like, to add on to what you're saying, Dave, I have been out before with some girlfriends, and this was years ago, and I had a boyfriend, and we've been together for like 3 years. So it was like definitely like I'm definitely not single, and we're all out for some occasion, and this guy comes up to me very polite and said like, hey, I think you're really beautiful, I would love to take you out on a date. Is that something you're like, very exactly what you're saying. And before I can even open my mouth to politely decline, because I don't want to be like, I have a boyfriend, like, because I also don't
I hate that
like,
excuse.
And every guy's heard it from every girl.
this girl
ever.
that was my friend's friend was just like, she's with somebody, get out of here. And I was like, chill out, first of all, I've got it. But it's like, you don't want to like, you want to encourage good behavior. You don't want to like.
That's such a good way to put it.
Seriously, you don't want to shut this guy down because he's gonna be like, "Fuck, I don't want to like you know, kind of like what you're saying, like ask permission." Like guys can get scared to ask because they don't want to get like turned down. But really, he's not. How is he supposed to know I wasn't single?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I wanted to be polite and politely decline and encourage. Like, thank you. That's really nice of you to say, but I'm not single. You know. But she was just like. I was just like,
I've had that. I've had the girl do the neck motion. Like, dude,
that's
like,
so rude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't have
I mean, do you guys understand
Nobody's
how hard it
perfect,
is?
But like, yeah, that's.
Can you guys even imagine? Like, really, take a second, ladies listening, ladies out there listening to this podcast, take a second and imagine what it's like to go to a bar knowing you're the one who has to ask that person if they'll dance with you.
It's a lot of pressure.
Fuck, you guys just get to sit there and drink.
Yeah, but you guys get lots of practice.
I've asked you this before. I go, Tasha, how do you hit on a guy? You go, you just stand there. You just bat your eyebrows at him.
No, it takes 2 hours of getting ready. That's our effort.
Yeah, that's right. I already did my job.
You're like, please.
Yeah, and then
I put on an outfit and some mascara. I'm standing here. All right.
I mean, look, and even when a guy figures it out, he's still gonna get rejected 6 out of 7 times. And it's like I think I figured out what, like, I mean, I've done some things that you'd think would get you slapped, and I don't mean that in like a sexual way. I just mean like I've taken people's phones out of their hands when they're texting and walked away. I've literally just done.
That's kind of funny though.
Yeah, I have a photo of me grabbing 7 different phones, and I stacked them all together and held them. And there were people that I took from the bar because they were all on their phones and it was annoying me. I could have taken any one of those girls home if I wanted to. I fucking owned their cell phones. They all got really angry at me like 2 minutes later. They're like, joke's over. And I was like, this is where it gets fun. It's uncomfortable. But like, you can like, there's like a game you got to play. You got to like, look, we know we're at the bar. I mean, look, like Tasha's, you know, I go to the bathroom. If Tasha and I are at the bar and I go to the bathroom, I come back and there's a guy hitting on her. So there are dudes out there doing the work, but a lot of guys kind of play that beta move where they like just sit they sit in the booth and you go, look, you're not going to rub elbows in a booth. You're you're not at the bar. You're watching other people do the thing. Right. You need to be out there in their way. Take up some space.
Yeah.
That's a man spreading in a bar is a thing that you need to do. You might annoy somebody, but you might have a girl be like, that guy's kind of cute. I'm going to go order a drink next to him. And then you're going to bump into that guy and he's going to be like, oh, hey, what's going on? What are you having? And then next thing you know, you're dating, you get married, you invite us to the wedding, you name your kid after us.
I did hear some advice. Like, I mean, I joke about like, hey, we're just here. So like, that's our effort. But I do think there are things depending on what you believe in, like if I like a guy and I think he's attractive, like I will go up and talk to him. But I also don't judge people for having like the opinion of like, I like to be more traditional and have
like
the guy.
pursued.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think whatever you personally believe in is fine.
And whatever your comfort level is.
Yeah.
Because everybody's different. Not everybody has the same experience. Not everybody is brave enough to walk up and take people's phones out of their hands.
Try it, gentlemen.
But like, yeah, everybody has something that works for them.
But I think there's ways too, even if you don't want to ask them out, where you can make yourself appear available or interested to encourage them to ask you out. So
I just came up with a great pickup idea for men out there. Okay, you know girls are going to take photos at the bars. You know it's going to happen. So what about, and then you always see the guy who's like, let me take your photo for you. Okay, cool. Every guy's going to offer. But imagine you see girls taking a selfie. I got this. Let me take your photo. You take their phone to take a photo, and then you pull out of your pocket one of those little tiny LED lights, and then you take the phone and you like bounce, and then you light the photo well for them.
I would think you were so creepy.
I think that's a great idea.
Actually, you know what is a good idea? How it works, you turn your flashlight on your personal phone. So like then it's a spotlight, and you spotlight them from back here, and it just adds a little extra glow, and you click.
And then
That's
you see,
cute.
and then you see the girl.
Had a light,
a ring light. You're just like, hold on a second, let me set up my tripod.
Yeah, I just wear it as a necklace. I just blood, and then you just find the girl you like, and you go, I just, you have beautiful eyes, and I wanted to make sure we captured them in the photo. Boom, you're getting late. Tasha's looking at me like it's weird. I think that's genius.
All right,
gentlemen out there, you're welcome. The birth rates are going to spike amongst SAP podcast listeners. And anyway, I really wanted to get into this. Let's just talk about it. You do a bit about your half siblings. So I don't obviously want you to do your bit, but I want to hear about it. So it's true story, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
sure.
tell us about it. Tell Tasha.
So do you? Well, the audience doesn't know, so I'll just tell. So it's so confusing. So I was the product of a one-night stand. My mom and my biological father, then they didn't stay together at all. It was a one-night stand. And then he went off and had 2 kids with another woman. And then my mom had my half-brother with another guy. So technically all those people are my siblings, but they're halves, right? So my half-brother, Justin, is with his dad and my mom. And then my half-sister and brother, Brett and Brittany, are with my biological father and their mom. So
Brett and Brittany together sounds trashy. Apart, they're not trashy words, but Brett and Brittany. Brett and Brittany over there, my dad.
Right?
My
we don't have a southern accent, but all of a sudden we do.
Sorry.
No.
Took you down there, Clark County.
I did the same. Yeah, Clark Kent County.
Sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good. It's honestly, I would get lost.
I'm doing the chart in my head. I'm Goodwill Hunting in my head.
Yeah.
So you got
Like,
Brett and Brittany's on your dad's side, half siblings.
Yes.
And then your mom's side's got Justin. Is that who you said?
Yes. And then we're not even mentioning, later I found out that my biological father, who has Brett and Brittany with another woman, got another woman pregnant pre-me, that was and the daughter was adopted out to a different family.
Dad can
Wow.
fuck.
Yeah.
Dad can fuck. Dad's
We're
at the
fertile
bar
people.
taking photos
Yeah.
to ladies with an LED light. Dad can fuck. Okay, so
That's what's funny to me, like when models are like, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. I'm like, I didn't do shit. 2 hot people fucked at a party and I came out. Like, I can't be like, take ownership of that or like.
But that's why when people say like,
this is all my doing.
having a baby's a miracle. No. You fucked, and if anyone can get knocked up, I mean, yeah, it's a miracle, whatever. But I'm just saying,
It's like we're hardwired to want to do that, and it's not.
How does
like
that make
a
you
hard
feel?
thing.
My mom
it's like
left.
insects do it.
Yeah, right?
Like insects do it.
My mom left my dad when she was pregnant with me, and I didn't meet him until I was like 20. So like, but they were married and like, in love, just toxically or whatever.
Right.
Like, how did it feel knowing that your parents? Like, when were you told that was the situation? Like, was your dad not around at all? And so that way your mom's like,
yeah. So, it wasn't a great. I've since made like my mom and I are fine now, but it definitely. I mean, she was so young, and the way I look at it is, I don't hold a grudge. I think they were both just really young and didn't make the best decisions. But she certainly was not ready to have kids, and so I was told a lot of things really young, and like I could look at it negatively and be like I was exposed to like really mature subject matter really early. But I think I don't know. I think it's partially why I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to have promiscuous sex and protect myself this way. Like, I'm not a prude or anything, but I certainly
that was my next question was if you were like anti one night stand because of that, or if you're just like, yeah.
Yeah, I've never had one.
Yeah. So are you? How do I ask this? Well, because you're looking at me like I'm the creep, and I'm trying to ask.
Wait, what?
No, you're looking at me like I'm about to ask something creepy.
Well, he's made it sound like you're like.
Well, because I'm asking about your sex life, and it's like, well, just because you came from a one night stand doesn't mean I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's like it is part of your identity in a way.
Selective. I think like I wait. I think even aside from that, I think for me personally, if it depends what you're looking for. I think it's totally like healthy and normal for a girl to be like, hey, I want to just, explore my sexuality. And I think that's okay too. For me personally, I didn't want to do that. And so like I would make a guy wait until several dates before I thought it was someone I'd want to have sex with.
And also like you started to say it's about your priorities. Like if you're looking for a serious relationship, you're not going to develop a serious relationship from a drunken one night stand. Yeah. Like that's just not how it works. That's not the formula. So if you're looking for something that's like more than that, a little more fulfilling, maybe could potentially be long term, like you play it safe and you play it slow.
I knew with Tasha, so we were friends first. So like I knew, but we went from friends to hot and heavy pretty quick. That's as far as we need to go to explain that, would you say? Sure. You made the same face when I asked if you had ever been on a stripper pole. Sure. Maybe. I don't know. Roll her eyes. Maybe. We should start talking like this.
We now know what her tell for yes is.
I don't know. Baby, you steal it. Maybe. I don't know. I talk like this now. Love you, Tasha. But yeah, we went from friends to hot and heavy, and then, but I wanted to make sure that she didn't think I was one night standing her or friends with benefiting her. Do you know what I mean?
Of you, yeah.
But I didn't know that's what my plan was. That's what I wanted.
You said that happened quickly, but that's not, when it happened. But
you
guys were friends for a long time before that ever happened.
You
so
don't
we
need
did
to
have
justify it, baby.
Foundation of trust.
You were overcome with joy.
He was playing the long game, baby.
No, she knew. I mean, at that point, I think we were starting to. I mean, it was never official. We started to date. We kind of we knew we were hanging out, kind of like in a special way, I think. But it's Tasha want to talk like this.
Oh my God.
Nothing gives me a boner like, bam, take your pants off. Oh, that's a cute looking dinky.
Oh God.
I'm like, gotta go.
That's anyway, how I talk.
Because sometimes a one night stand isn't your choice. You know what I mean? Like you could decide to like hook up with a guy. I mean, I guess it's your choice whether or not you want to hook up with a guy right away. But like you mentioned, like, I waited a few dates, and like to you, and to this generation, that's a long time. But like to someone in the '60s, they'd be like, a couple dates. I waited a couple of years. He had to come home from the war, and
my dad would need to approve, and then we would
But it's like it's your body, it's your choice, and you know when it's right. But also like we were saying, if you're able to go approach a guy, which I think is totally cool, do you ever wonder if that guy was even that into you in the first place? Like, do you ever wonder, like, because men, I don't have to be like, that she was just into me for my body. Like, it doesn't really work that way. But like as a woman, do you ever wonder if like a guy's got the wrong motivations?
My thoughts on this have changed over time. I think now, before it would have been like, no, I mean, maybe he wanted to, but just didn't approach me because he didn't know what my situation was. And I would like give that the benefit of the doubt. But I think for me personally now, and other people can feel differently, what I want is I'd want a guy to probably make the first move.
Ideally.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with, being very careful, obviously.
I've always said this. In most cases, women make the first move in the sense that the guy sees she's checking him out.
That's it.
And it's like, look, man.
It's as simple as eye contact.
They call it the 3-second rule. It really, like if a girl looks at you, you just got to go up to her and talk to her. You can't, I mean, you can take some time, go order a drink and swing around, but you better know that like she saw you. That wasn't necessarily like a projected move. She might like, what the eyes do sometimes it's not
just natural,
our conscious control. Yeah. It's like, okay, I checked that out. Okay, well, maybe there's something there.
And like my faces are very like, if I look at someone in public, most of the time I don't smile. Like if it's accidental like resting, eye contact, very resting bitch face for sure. But like accidental eye contact is super quick. You move on, you don't smile, you go about your business. But like,
and it's not even a bitch face. It's just like you're not engaged.
Yeah, my face doesn't smile when it's relaxed. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's just a normal face. It's resting.
This is my resting face. No one looks at me.
No, but when you're single and you're giving off like single
the vibes,
potentially pick me up vibes, if you make eye contact with a guy you think is cute, like it's gonna linger a little longer than a half a second.
You're like,
you might twitch up a tiny smile at the corners of your mouth. Not like cheesing out, but just like, oh hey, like these are subtle signals that women are giving to men that says, hey, I'm available if you feel like striking
up a lot on the line. We're procreating, folks. There's a lot on the line here. This is the innuendo I think men aren't taught to be like, look, no, honestly, she's playing with her hair. She squared up to you, man. Go make a move. Go for it. Go. And then you go, ah.
But aren't taught. I mean, we're not taught this either, but it's something that you learn naturally from the time you're a kid. It's a simple, like, you don't learn like socialization either. Well, you do learn it. The point is that your parents shove you in preschool and you like learn how to share and solve problems.
Don't you think if I had this conversation on the Jezebel podcast, I would be lit on fire and burned at the stake. Don't you
Why?
think? Because this conversation is very much like men are the hunters. Women have to just show up and show off the signs,
we're
which I
both
believe in.
Equal partners playing a part.
I think what this sounds like to me is that you will find your mirror like what you want. So if you're a girl, like some guys like a more subdued woman, and like I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but they want someone who maybe wouldn't want to like go out and like talk to a guy. Like maybe they want someone that's more like reserved or whatever. I'm not saying it's a bad quality, but like that guy will be the one to approach that girl. But if like a guy wants someone that will go and talk to them, and like if they're cool
Someone
with
who's
that,
very bold,
yeah, they'll end up with that person. So I think it's just like you'll find. I don't like assigning negative qualities to any type of person. I think we're all different for a reason, and so like I think you'll end up finding the person that vibes with you.
And if you're not happy with them, you got to look inwards. If you're not happy with the person you've attracted, you've attracted them.
You gotta take some ownership,
and that's fine too. It just says, all right, maybe it's something to work on myself, because like you can't work on yourself and make the other person better. You can rise together, like Tasha and I were kind of stuck together, like collision course. You know what I mean? Like you can stick together and then improve. But in a lot of instances, in a single game, it's like you're gonna attract whatever you are in that moment. Mm-hmm. So be like, so when things are going well and you walk into that bar smiling and you're laughing with your buddies and you really, or like there's nothing more attractive to a guy than seeing a girl out with her girls doing their things.
Yeah, like fully in her feminine, like laughing, having a good time, feeling the vibes. Like that, there is something that like is very attractive about that.
So let's cut to the chase. How did your siblings start fucking each other?
Yeah.
Let's just spoil
Let's
it.
get a
spoiler,
Yeah,
Dave.
So I don't know how it started, but like
Everyone's rewinding to see if I said that. I did. Her siblings are fucking.
that's what we. Yeah. Oh yeah, I hadn't said that part yet.
No, it's fine. I'm
So,
just laying it out
yeah,
there. We're just gonna now. Let's get.
It's an outline. It's a sandwich. We got the bread. We said what's happening. Now we're gonna fill in the meat.
Yeah, and
a
the meat's
lot of
from
meat.
the same genetic line.
The two comics like immediately talk about the meat.
Okay, yeah, I have so many questions, but we need to finish this part first.
Yeah. So I don't know how it started, but I do. So my brother Justin and my sister Brittany. So they're both my half siblings. So.
They're not related technically.
They're technically. So I feel like I'm basically almost running my bit, but like technically they're not related. So like, okay, I can kind of understand that, but literally there is a little bit of me in him and her. Like I look like both of them in some ways. So to me, it's like of all the people, why, like, wouldn't you just say like, well, this is kind of weird and like not do it, So it's just, I don't know. So I found out.
Taboo's sexy though. Taboo can be sexy.
This is, so I say when I do the bit, I say I just found out, but this has been like 4 or 5 years.
Wait, your sister and brother have been dating, half sister.
Oh, they're not dating anymore.
They were incest adjacent, I think is the term we're using. But what I always said was it'd be great because if they had a one night stand, their kid would be your twin. I'm convinced that their genetics.
We should get them together. I'm convinced. Figure it out.
Yeah, can we get someone from 23andMe over? So like, look, if you're half sibling, I know it's not true. There's geneticists listening, going, "Are you fucking an idiot?" No,
yeah,
but. I'm an idiot adjacent,
sure.
But I like the idea that if you're these halves broke up and fucked and had a kid, that it would just like circumvent, and then that would make your niece or nephew your twin. I'm convinced of it.
Well, technically, right? I'm not, hip to that either, but like technically, whatever genes become present, there's a chance.
There's something going on.
There's something.
I don't know. Anyway, so they were. Was it a quick thing?
Out.
Okay, you found out. And did you find out like did they have to pull you aside and it was like a drunk aunt being like?
No, it was like said offhand. I can't remember how it was said, but it was offhandedly like just like it was happening, and I was just like, no one else thinks this is weird. Like I was the only one who was just, and I wasn't rude about it.
Technically, legally, you're allowed to sleep with like your second cousin or your third cousin if you want to, but nobody wants to because it's weird. Like technically, you're allowed to sleep with your
everyone's got a
half-brother,
cousin they'd
half-sister.
fuck. Everyone's got a cousin,
but I guess they're not. They're not half brothers and half sisters to each other, or are they?
They aren't. But I mean, it's kind of like. They're not, but there's like a part of them that's there. I'm definitely a missing link or like the connecting link. And I just think that's weird.
Yeah. You're like this special superhero connecting like this is a whole like Justice League thing where like you're the only one that's a part of anyway. So
the thing is like I say I'm white trash, but there were like 1 million people in this metropolitan area. So there were people.
There were options.
They had options.
They had options. It's not like it was a town of 300 people and it was like, well, we all are fucking each other and coincidentally made the most hot people in the town. So why not fuck? Like,
yeah, they just don't open Tinder at a family reunion. Don't set your radius to like whatever's near the campfire. You know,
set your radius to grandma's living room.
I suspect, and I'm not saying this because I've done this because I haven't, but I suspect more people have fooled around with their cousins than people admit.
Oh, I'm sure.
I know in the black community, they talk about it way more openly.
What?
Which absolutely, at least through the comics I know, and because like comics just share shit that other people don't, and it's like you don't say something, but like I mean like I've got an uncle. I don't know how the lineage is, but I think I've got an uncle. Like, so this doesn't affect my gene pool, but like it affects my cousin's gene pool where there's like incest, and I'm sure we've all in somewhere in the last 5 generations have something in our family that was like, that was weird. You know, I'm not saying it's right. It's still strange. I mean,
well,
obviously.
But that was also a different time when like, you know, people were like living in the hollers of
and we thought smoking
the
was
mountains
healthy
in Kentucky. And there were only 30 people in a town. And like,
yeah, Kentucky's got some fucking cousin fucking for sure.
blue people.
But you don't know anyone. You don't know anyone in your family, though, do you?
no, I definitely had 2 cousins.
Oh, you-
I have two cousins that got married in my
for real?
lineage. Yeah, but this was hundreds of years ago.
Hundreds of years ago.
But
I got really excited. I was like, have I met them? Or you didn't make this,
I knew they were 2.
was it Dan? Who was it?
So what's crazy about like my half brother and sister was it was very short lived, and I remember my brother telling me like, yeah, well, you know, she got pregnant, and I was like, yeah, and I was like, wait a second, because that immediately was like, okay, this is disgusting. But I was like, what are you gonna do? And he goes, well, she says she doesn't think it's mine because she was cheating on me like the whole time. So, and like basically, like I know. So, I hope this doesn't sound fucked up, but it was like she was having sex with my brother and I think like an African American dude, and it came out half black, so they knew it was.
You can call him a black guy.
Yeah.
That's fine. You're all getting all nervous.
I know. I'm like,
is this going to sound crazy? You know, you're just telling the truth. She was fucking a black guy and your half brother. Mm-hmm. And
so
it turns out the guy was
DNA test, basically. Yeah.
I mean, I guess not. Yeah, I guess that's and women don't get this, but that's every guy's worst nightmare is that the kid's going to come out a different skin color than it's supposed to. And I'm not saying that in any racial terms. It's just that's how you know. If it comes out your skin color, you know, or even like a different eye color, there's recessive genes.
That's what they called redheads, right? The milkman's son or like daughter. Or whatever.
They are. They're a menace to society. I'm kidding. If you're out there, share the podcast, our ginger fans.
I think you might have some red-haired babies.
I was just thinking you have some red hair.
He has red.
It's an Irish
beard.
thing.
He has red in his beard, so I have my hopes up for a little red-headed baby.
You don't want that shit.
I do. I love little.
I got nothing against the gingers.
They're going want that shit.
They're going extinct.
I don't want anything.
No, it's what society says about them. You look. The only thing women hate worse than a ginger is a short guy. Women can deal with bald. Women can deal with fat. Trust me,
babe. Honestly, you need to. You're not watching the right TV shows.
Top ginger. You ready? 1.
Top. Oh, hold on.
Don't say it before favorite.
Oh, she's gonna go with the Showtime guy. He's not a ginger.
No.
He is a ginger, but he's not
but he's
my
sexy.
top. He's not my top.
Okay.
Favorite ginger of all time. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Are you guys ready? You're gonna say your names. I'm gonna count down. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then you're gonna say it. 1, 2, 3.
Prince
Ron
Harry.
Weasley.
Wait, you went Prince Harry and who
Prince
did you?
Harry.
And who
Ron
did you,
Weasley.
Yeah.
The
Wait,
fuck's
the
Ron?
actor?
Ron Howard?
No, from Harry Potter.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But actually, Prince
is that
Harry
Ed
is hot.
Sheeran?
Prince Harry is very
Yeah.
hot. But the actor who plays Ron Weasley,
What's his name?
Rupert Grint.
Rupert Grint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like honestly though, if it wasn't for Harry Potter, I probably wouldn't think he's cute.
I
women
was
like him.
obsessed with
power.
like Fred and George, but like my imagined version of Fred and
Right.
George because I.
But here's
like,
the thing: you
cool,
guys literally
edgy.
went to the 2 most powerful British things in the world: the royalty and Harry Potter. Like, so if you're not in the royalty or if you're not in Harry
You're
Potter,
screwed.
the biggest franchise movies of all time, you don't have a chance.
No, but I was just before you interrupted me saying that my idealized, imagined version of the Weasley family was a lot sexier than the people that were cast to play the Weasleys in the movies. No
Thanks,
offense.
But see what's crazy? If you asked a guy who
And my imagined version of Jamie, what's his last
Lannister.
name? No, babe. That's
Oh,
the
from,
Game of Thrones. No, from Outlander.
okay, so you got to be a movie star.
No. Jamie, I forget his
the
last
guy
name.
who plays. I don't watch
Fraser.
Outlander, but
Fraser.
Yeah.
Jamie Fraser.
Yeah, I'd fuck him. He's cute.
He's cute, but my imagined Jamie Fraser was cuter than the guy who plays Jamie Fraser on Showtime's version of our Stars.
But that's the
version
thing,
of
woman. You
Outlander.
got to have a fucking royalty. If you ask a guy, who's your
There's
favorite
this
ginger?
other good book with a hot ginger, if you like to imagine hot gingers. It's called.
You ruined my bit. I had a bit coming.
Sorry,
I had a
babe.
funny
He's
bit
so
coming.
mad.
I'm gonna do it again. I'm not gonna.
I think I have the sequel over there, but I don't know if I have the first one. The Pillars of the Earth, I think, is the first one, and then there's a sequel that also has a hot ginger.
Look, I didn't mean to start a ginger book club here, but you guys, if you need
We're
to,
gonna go be alone for a little bit and go read.
I had a dream. I'll say this is weird. I had a dream, Tasha, that you were seduced by Heather Turman, past podcast guest and comedian
last
friend of
night?
ours. Yeah, I had a dream that she was wearing a skirt and she walked up and just sat on your face. How fucked up is that? I wasn't into it. I was jealous. I was like, "Fuck you."
And then I got down from her forehead to her nose.
Yeah, that's just why I buffered slowly. Hey, folks. Look, we're already at an hour. Can you believe that? We didn't even get past the cousin or the half-sibling fucking. But are we wrapped up on the sibling story? Like, do they talk? Are they friends?
I don't think
Are
they
they-
talk since then. I don't know.
Are they cute?
But they're gonna see each other like at Christmas and stuff. No, or do you guys like not get together?
Oh yeah,
like
I'm sure
that?
they see each other around. I mean, we didn't get together like Christmases for that, but
But
like,
as far as like the ruling, obviously it's not incest. Obviously, it's just like I said, it's adjacent. It's a story.
Yeah.
It's worth an explanation.
Yeah.
When you say like, but it's a very funny bit, and you'll have that bit for life thanks to your
Yeah.
half siblings. You'll always have the
in
bit.
it, I say like, if it takes you 30 seconds to explain how you're related to somebody, you probably shouldn't be having sex with them. Like, I feel like no matter what, if you're not related, like
That's what we've learned today.
yeah, there you go. If
Well,
you
look
guys
at it
can
this
take
way.
anything from this podcast, think about it.
I got
Should I have
my
sex
my
with
dad had 6 different wives, and they're mainly all in Missouri. So like I've got my brother Jack and Jameson from. There's a huge age difference. My brother's from my mom.
Is your dad
it.
an alcoholic?
He well no, but he
Jack
was.
and Jameson.
No, that's from my mom. I got this.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my first joke I ever wrote. Yeah, the Whiskey Bros, the whole thing. That's my mom named them. The alcohol runs in that side of the family. So I've got Jack and Jameson on one side, and then the other side, I've got fucking 7 or 8
Unlimited.
siblings, and if they ended up meeting. Or if like, you know what I mean? It would be like, yeah, it would be weird and worth an explanation, but also like they've never, it's not. But in your case, it's like the same town. Go meet somebody else. Like fuck,
Right.
your half siblings, friends, maybe.
Especially in today's day and age, there's the internet.
Yeah.
You can,
But
pretty much know.
genetically not at risk for like large foreheads, which would be good for my porn looking viewing. I don't know. I got obsessed with the foreheads on this one. If you have a large forehead, that's okay. What can we promote for you? What's your social media? How can people find you?
Everything's ITS Jacquie Brown. It's Jacquie Brown. And I spell my name weird. It's JACQUIE.
Jackie.
Jesus Christ. Got to relearn
You're
how to
never
spell
gonna find me.
Jackie. No, we'll tag a photo. We'll take a photo and put it on the SAPs. Oh, and I got to tell people, so I mentioned this before, but we got to start talking about it because this is our only real avenue of communication with our audience. Tasha and I did our first Patreon episode.
We launched it.
We launched it. We don't have a subscriber. We don't have a
No, we
main
haven't
member
told
yet.
anybody yet.
And I'm just
We're
saying
telling
that.
our
I'm
live
telling people right now,
viewers.
look, don't make me feel like a fucking asshole. We were featured on iTunes last week. We've been featured all over. We got another big feature coming up. So I created we got the one with Social Man. They're going to feature us, which will probably be bigger than iTunes. But it's been amazing. But also, like, some of these people, like, their Patreons are up and running and they've got money. And for me, it's less about the financial thing and more about street cred. I'm like, I got a big goose egg next to that dollar amount on Patreon. And we've got different options that people can pay. But there's a lot to be given in the tiers we've made. Like, we've got the one tier that's going to be 2 extra episodes a month, which we're already doing. This one we released a couple days ago. I wanted to release it as this week's episode because it was such a good private episode that we had. We went to Lake Tahoe last week and it snowed 3 feet.
It looked so pretty.
My car,
It
the
was so
tire got a
fun.
flat tire, and we white knuckled it down. We talked about how I accidentally joined the football team through peer pressure, and we talked about all these fun things, yo-yos, the yo-yo black market from 7th grade.
What is the Patreon? How do they find
Patreon.com.
us?
Great question,
Because
Tasha.
they said they can't find us.
Well, it's out there. Patreon.com/thesap.
The SAP.
SAP, the SAP. No, it's
THESAP, the SAP.
Because look, Jackie, I don't know if you know this. We make homemade soap. I don't know if you know this.
What?
That's the top tier is that we sell
makers?
monthly soap. And look, if there's presents you want to give to people, you take the first month's soap for yourself, and then you start giving the rest as gifts. They're pretty good. We put rose clay in it, peppermint. We fucking
stuff.
good
That's
shit.
like luxurious soap right there.
We'll give you some. We'll give you some soap on the way out. It's in there somewhere. Yeah, try it out. It's good. Coconut oil. It's great. I'm not gay.
Thanks,
If I was,
guys.
whatever. The soap's good. So that's the top tier. But the lower tiers, you can get extra a monthly episode, and we're gonna release the brunch show. So if you're listening and you want to hear
listed as Dave, Neal, and Tasha Courtney.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
yeah.
The SAP isn't mentioned in the title.
Oh. Okay, well, I'll
thanks
figure it
for
out.
the
Thank
heads
you
up.
for
We'll
that
look
stuff.
at
I don't know. We're billionaires by the thing's over. No, we so appreciate our audience, and I come from this Catholic upbringing where you don't ask for money, even though they do ask for money at church. But like, if you're tithing yourselves to our podcast, now we can give you something back, additional episodes. And what it's going to do for us is give me the chance to not have to do that extra day a week of my side gig and actually produce more content, because we love producing content. We're going to answer Q&As, and we do solo episodes. I want to do an extra one every Friday. I want to make it 4 times a month. So as soon as we get to a certain threshold of audience, I might just start doing that anyway. I might give you guys more content than you're asking for. You're going to be like, please, we'll pay you to stop. Like, I'm going to do a lot. The brunch show is going to be up there every month. We're going to have the brunch show, so you can hear some stand-up comedy. You can hear the homeless guy walking in on us and all that jazz. It's all on. It's all recorded in the Patreon. So, and if you don't want any content, there's a friend zone level. So we have the friend zone level where you just support us because you want to support the podcast. And look, I'm not begging people for money, but I've spent way over $1,500 on this, over 5 years of bandwidth and fucking mics. I probably spent anyway. So at some point, we're just kind of like, all right, let's actually value our creativity a little bit more than just giving it away. We're giving you that one night stand shit. Now you got to pay for a little
Live
booty
Fast
call.
Die Old says, I'm subscribed in case you wanted to get my shout out of the way.
All
That
right.
is so nice. Thank you, Live Fast Die Old. Are you our first subscriber?
First subscriber.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tasha, show them your
Live Fast,
tits.
Die Old.
That's part of the perk. I didn't mention it. It's in the perk. We actually didn't add the tier. We're going to do a postcard tier. So we're going to do a tier where we hand out postcards. And honestly, maybe
Handwritten
the
postcards.
first.
That's my idea.
Hey,
I love
Tasha,
that
how about
idea.
this?
Isn't that
So
so
cute.
cool and old school and
what if
retro?
we-
A little
What if
handwritten.
What if we
note
got the
once
ball
a month?
rolling and gave a postcard to the first 20 people that sign up?
I think that's a nice idea.
Because I want to give people postcards anyway.
You guys have a
Tasha
limited
just
amount of time.
sent a
Who's the
board.
first 20?
Jackie, you're getting a fucking postcard. Everyone's getting a postcard.
You're getting a postcard.
We're gonna go to the
You're getting
bars
a
and just you sign. That's how you should meet girls at the bar. You send a postcard and you just go, "There's my number, bitch."
Here's a really good tip, you guys. Someone recently told me this, a dude. He's like, this is how I've been asking girls out. Do you guys ever use AirDrop to share pictures with your
Yes.
friends? He literally has like
A
an
picture?
image of his phone number and his picture, like, and with his, well, I think he's photoshopped his phone number onto his picture, and he'll just AirDrop it onto any available phones that say like a girl's name.
That's so.
And so all of a sudden, a girl will get like, so and so wants to share a message, and it's like him, like with his number, and he
That's
says it's like,
serendipity all
Yeah.
over again.
I mean, it's sort of cute, except that it's literally not directed at you.
Right.
It's directed at a girl's name.
so it's just a number skin,
So, like,
really.
yeah.
He
I
says
think
it
I did that
works.
with the
I'm sure it
podcast
does.
in the airplane last time. I think I was sending photos to random people, but I don't have any. That's kind of
Secretly, I like sending weird photos, like,
Yeah.
like Jackie wants to send you photos. Guy's like, block.
That's a Patreon tier. Jackie's going to send you a photo. She's going to double chin it for you guys. But no, we do have our first one. We'll have to get his address and we'll send a postcard. Tasha sent a postcard to someone in like Taiwan, right?
yeah, I sent a Christmas card.
Was he Taiwan?
Yes, it was Taiwan.
We'll do it. We'll go fucking international. I got to send a postcard to someone in Paris because a friend of mine from college is teaching school in Paris and she wanted people from different states to send postcards in. So
That's cool.
Anyway, we want to give back. We want people to be part of the community. And we're going to be releasing a lot of content on Patreon. You'll still get your weekly episodes here, but I'm telling you folks, if you're always, if you've ever wondered how you can support us, that's the way. It's directly money that goes back to us so we can do, keep producing. Hey, 324. Jackie, you're the 324th episode. So
Wow.
congratulations.
Yeah.
This
Thanks
ain't
for
What are
no
we
having
gonna
you
do for our
guys.
350?
worry about that in 24 episodes. Wait, did I do the math right? Nope, I didn't. 26 episodes, which means that's 6.5 months from now.
Okay.
So
You have time.
we'll worry about that in September. I don't know.
Alright.
What should we do? Should we go line dancing?
Sure, yeah.
We need to get the fuck out of here. We've just been rambling. So at the.sap is our Instagram. We'll take a photo of Jackie so you guys can find her if you go to our Instagram or
Thanks,
go to
guys,
it's
for
Jackie
having
Brown
me.
CQIE.
It's Jackie Brown, so ITSJACQUIE Brown.
She's going to change her name for us. And
So you
and
can
at
spell.
Tasha Courtney.
Yep.
Thank you to our friend. What's his name?
Live fast, die old. Thank you.
Live
thank you on
fast,
the live
die old.
stream.
I like that.
That's the way to
Live
go.
fast, die old. Appreciate you so much, and all of our listeners out there, our new listeners out there. I know I might be rambling, but we're just featured on iTunes. I've looked at the stats. We've got a whole batch of new followers out there. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, hit us up with a 5-star review on iTunes. It helps us jump up the ranks so people can keep listening to us, and we appreciate y'all immensely. Jackie, Tasha, I'm Dave Neal. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Yay. That was fun. Thanks so much for having me. I love talking.
Now we know your ginger preferences.